Hi, everyone. I am here with notorious white supremacist Richard Spencer.
No, David, I'm Robert Spencer.
I don't mean to correct you, Richard, but I've seen so many people identify you as notorious white supremacist Richard Spencer.
Not only am I not Richard Spencer, but I'm not a white supremacist.
Hold on now. Now, what's more believable here? You tell me. One, that so many people are complete morons that they can't even get the right person in their criticisms, or that you don't know your own identity. Which one?
Well, as the great former President Robert Nixon said in conversation with the famous atheist writer Robert Dawkins.
As he was working out with Robert Simmons.
Yes, exactly. He said that it's very important to call things by their right names. Mm-hmm. This is a fundamental premise of Confucianism. Mm-hmm. And actually, since we are speaking about religions in this case, I thought that it would be a posit to mention that. But the reality is that I am not Richard Spencer, nor was meant to be.
So when did you become a white supremacist?
I've never been. I am not now, Senator, nor have ever been a white supremacist.
What do you think about the ideology of white supremacists that you support and defend?
I'm not Richard Spencer, and I do not support or defend any ideology of any racial supremacism. I believe very strongly in the principles of the United States Constitution involving no special rights for individual groups, but equality of rights of all before the law.
Do you believe that the white race is superior to non-white races?
I'm not even a wholly card-carrying 100% member of the white race, and so I can't really say that I believe, even if I were, I wouldn't believe that it was so stimulatingly more wonderful than any other race. There's people of so many different races who have done so many wonderful things, and in my work as Robert Spencer, not Richard, I have endeavored to expose the motivating ideology behind the jihad terror threat, which is an attempt to establish the hegemony of a particular belief system over the world and force those who do not accept it, of all races, into a state of subjugation. And I believe that that creates a society that is worse than a society in which people of all races can live together as equals, without any dominant ideology being forced on any of them.
And it is interesting that the main problem people have with you is that you criticize jihad, which is the attempt to bring into the real world a situation laid down in the Quran, namely that Jews, Christians, and other non-Muslims are the worst of creatures. Surah 98, verse 6, we're the worst of creatures. And what we find in chapter 3, verse 110 of the Quran, that Muslims are the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind.
And if you oppose that, you're a racist.
Now think about that. This is, Muslims are superior, radically superior to all other people.
Who are like animals, as Quran chapter 8, verse 55 says.
And Muhammad said that he had been given a vision by Allah, whereby the East and the West, he was shown all of it, and that Islam, his community, the Ummah, would rule over all of it. And so jihad, at least in the form we're talking about now, jihad is the attempt to make Muslims superior in practice and not just in theory, right? So to oppose that, to oppose the violent subjugation of the world to one people group is what classifies you as a white supremacist.
Well, there is the confusion of me with Richard Spencer, which is just ridiculous. He's the only public figure I know whose name is constantly confused. Nobody has this kind of trouble otherwise.
Yeah, and people see him all over the news, and he's obviously not.
Obviously not me. And he himself.
I normally don't think that people are being like deliberately deceptive unless I have good reasons, but there's so much confusion about that, and when people are pointing a finger at you, I have to think that some people are being deliberately sloppy or misleading.
I think so.
Yeah.
But also, I think that they think it doesn't matter because it's racist to oppose this radically supremacist worldview.
So regardless, you're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
anyway,
and many
right?
people, when their error is pointed out, they say, "Oh, you're all the same anyway." and it's just a different variety of bigotry. Actually, it's the quintessentially anti-racist and anti-bigotry stance to oppose jihad terror. And to be in favor of a free society in which there is not one group that is exalted above all the others. And so, actually, if one is going to reject racism, one has to reject jihad and reject Sharia and Islamic supremacism. And not only just reject the obvious racism of somebody like Richard Spencer, who was very unhappy with me, actually, and insisted that I must secretly be a Jew who changed my name to Spencer. Actually, I've had this name all my life, to my best of my knowledge, and haven't changed it from anything.
For the record, though, just for full disclosure, I did have one of those DNA tests, and I am a 2.7% Ashkenazi Jew.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Well, I need to have one of those, but to the best of my knowledge, I do not have that honor.
So, just to sum up, I guess, for those of you out there who can't tell the difference between a person who says this particular race needs to be in authority over other races, or this race is superior to other races, if you can't tell the difference between that and someone who says, hey, this ideology should not be people who maintain this ideology should not have supremacy over all other people, and all other people regarded as inferior people, inferior human beings, the worst of creatures. If you can't tell the difference between those polar opposites, I think you might be a moron.
But at least you're not a racist.